Hi, I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles. And this is
Bar Talking
Bar, your access to the heartbeat of New York City's bar and hospitality scene.
Hosted straight from the city that never sleeps, we sit down with bartenders, brands and ambassadors, hospitality pros, and cocktail lovers.
Whether it's the art of bartending, the hustle behind hospitality, or the wildest bar tales, expect raw conversations and industry secrets.
Listen to the people who pour your favorite cocktails and keep the nightlife alive.
If you love bars, spirits, and the stories that bring them to life, follow us, share, and subscribe to keep the conversations flowing.
The podcast that you didn't know you need.
New episodes weekly.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast,
Bar Talking Bar.
I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles.
So today, we're going to start by acknowledging our audience, our listeners, our people who's watching us, and our number one fans. Thank you. Thank you all for being part of this amazing journey. And, as you guys can see, we have a new studio, but we want to start by introducing our guest today.
Of course.
Can you please help me introduce our guest?
Of course. And like every single episode, everybody's a VIP here.
VIP. Hey. No selfie.
So Felix Martin, he works for Ron del Barrilito, and we're very happy to have you here because we've been trying to have Ron here, and finally we have Ron del Barrilito. So I know many people knows you, but some people don't. So it would be awesome if you introduce yourself, tell us your story, how do you get to this point, little by little.
Yeah. I'm Felix. And currently I'm the brand ambassador for Ron del Barrilito here in New York. ¿Cómo le digo? I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, in Bushwick, to Dominican parents. Both my parents immigrated here in the late 80s, early 90s. But I guess I spent my childhood in Bushwick, playing around with my cousins, with, my uncles, my aunts. I come from a really, really big family. So 12 uncles and aunts, and that's only on one side. So
12 altogether or 12 and 12?
12 altogether from one side.
Oh, okay.
From another side, they're like 10. So, I always had a lot of cousins. And
That's freaking awesome.
It's Dominican, born and raised in Brooklyn and Bushwick. I used to travel to the Dominican Republic almost, and not every summer, but every other summer. So I've gotten a little bit of a taste of the island as well. And
Wow, that's amazing. I never really grew up with a lot of siblings. When I was a kid, there were a couple of them, but when you have more siblings, there's a lot of games you can play.
A lot.
The family is also
A lot. Oh man, we used to be so crazy. Como que, it was like a little group of us of like 8 and 9 cousins, riding skateboards, riding ripsticks, playing handball, playing basketball. We used to play like dumb games, like holding from the handrails of the staircase and trying to see who could jump the more steps and like picking each other. So it was a fun childhood growing up in Bushwick.
I grew up with cousins, but they were like 11 years older than me.
Okay.
Or like 8 years older, younger than me. So it was sometimes a little fun, having dinner with my family during Christmas or something, but it was like super boring because it was probably like 2 or 3 of us that we were like on the same age.
Okay.
So other than that, you would be either the babysitter of the other kids,
or they're babysitting you,
or you being bored because the oldest one didn't want to play with you or something like that.
No, I got lucky. I got lucky. I grew up with some amazing cousins that I'm still friends with to this day. And as you get older, you kind of separate, you lose a little bit of touch. But my childhood was definitely eventful.
You know what the thing is, now that you say you lose touch, like sometimes you don't talk to a relative or a friend for a long period of time, but somehow when you see each other, you connect.
Yeah.
It's like you haven't seen each other for 10 years, or probably 2, but when you see each other, you connect immediately. Like, is that, brotherhood, sisterhood that we have with our cousins. I always call my cousins brothers because
100%.
you know, like I grew up with them. We played together. We like cried together. We watched like we did competitions and all that kind of stuff. Like what kind of silly things we didn't do? We did everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, it's I also have friends like that as well that we will go years and years go by so quick.
I
Like
know.
the pandemic was literally 6 years ago, which is wild to me.
It's crazy, right?
But yeah,
We still talk about it.
And we still talk about it.
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, I have friends and family members that we wouldn't talk for 2-3 years, and then we connect, and it's like picking up on the past conversation, like
Yeah.
if it was yesterday. But there's also this, it's a little sad, but almost romantic idea that at some point is going to be the last time that you talk to a certain person,
Yeah.
and you will never know. Like, damn, this is the last time
That's true. That's
Yeah.
That's well, things happen in life. You know, things change, just like the seasons and the weather.
Yes, it is.
But you know, we're here for one reason, and the one reason is to be alive and be happy,
That's it.
and do what you can do to, you know, put a roof over your head, and you know, continue living. I guess.
Be kind.
Be kind to others.
Be kind.
I think like that's the
Be
number
kind.
one rule that we should always be taught as kids. Just be kind. You know, doesn't matter if you have money, you have no money. Just be kind to others. You know, like open the door for somebody. If somebody's trying to cross the street, like help them cross the street. I don't see that as often. You know, like I think that goes with the deed of the day. I guess. You know, you try to do something good for the person.
Exactly.
Not waiting for something to happen to you. It's just gonna happen. You know, and
Exactly.
for the less expected. You know, the person you never think of.
Yeah, definitely something to say about New Yorkers, because there's this thing that like New Yorkers are mean, and I'm like, no, I think New Yorkers are kind.
Yeah,
They might not be nice.
It's a fast pace, but it's also because we are so used to it. You know?
We're so used to it, like-
because I've been here for 25 years.
I'm a New Yorker already.
Yeah, I felt, you know, when I first came to New York, they say if you fall down the first snow, you're gonna stay for 3 years, or if you pass 3 years, you're gonna stay here forever. And I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go back to Mexico.
And,
Yeah.
and here you are.
Here we are.
And so going back to your story, so I mean, obviously your mom and your dad, they're Dominicans.
Dominican.
You have siblings? Or?
I have siblings, so I have one younger brother. He's 25, little baby brother. So yeah, growing up, and again, I call him to this day like my baby, because it's growing up. My father, he was a tailor, and he also did other things, you know, to keep a roof over our head, and you know, have some food on the table. And yeah, growing up, my father was, you know, always busy doing his business, doing his thing. My mother, she used to make dolls, actually.
Dolls?
Dolls. Ella trabajaba para una factoría de muñeca.
Oh.
So I remember our our apartment always used to be full of like dolls, and I'm like, where are all these dolls coming from?
It's all
And then yeah, and then you go up, and it's like, oh, that's what mommy does. And then after that, she was like a babysitter. She was a nanny. So my parents were always busy. There was a point that my father goes to jail, and then my mom had to get another job. So she was working 2 or 3 jobs, and I was like at home taking care of my little brother, picking him up from school, helping him with the homework. And that's pretty much how I grew up. Just
Good
Bushwick.
to be your friend, my
In
baby
Bushwick.
brother.
in Bushwick, my baby brother got older with the cousins, doing cousin stuff, going outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
La
a fun
rumba.
childhood. La rumba.
Yeah.
Yes, you
So-
start getting older.
So how did you start working in the hospital? Did you like work in
no.
something else? Or?
No. So, funny enough, I always say I have like 3 origin stories when it comes to like how I fell into the industry. I personally feel that like the industry finds you. You don't choose, unless you do, you choose it. But most of the time, the industry finds you. And that's what happened to me. So I graduate high school. Right after I graduate high school, my father gets sick. So I have to go to the Dominican Republic. And the whole point was to, you know, go to college, but I decided to not go to college for the first semester and to wait it out,
Take a break.
take a break. So I go to the Dominican Republic. My father, unfortunately, passes away when,
Sorry.
yeah, it's just This was around 2012, 2013. I get back, and now I have to go back to college, and I also have to get a job because I want the phone, I want the latest kicks, you know. So my mom could only do so much, and it's like, ¿tú quieres un celular? Cómpratelo. Because right now I could only, exactly, trabaja. So I remember starting in college, I went to City College of New York. I was going to be a CUNY. I was going to be a physics major. So I was always a science nerd. Anybody that knows me from my childhood, I was always the kid asking questions, reading the books. I love science. Physics is like a passion of mine to this day. But yeah, I go to City College of New York, and I need to get a job. So my first taste in the industry was walking down 3rd Avenue, had some resumes on me with like nothing of experience. And I walked by this bar. It's no longer there. It used to be called Teca. It stands for Tequileria, Taqueria.
Oh, Teca?
Teca.
Wow.
Teca.
Third and
It was like 3rd. This was so many years ago, 30 something.
Yeah. I think I remember that place, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh man, what a place. What a place. That was my first taste in the industry. So I go in, I meet I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a job. You know, is there anything you guys have available? I think the manager at that time, his name was Macario. And he's like, do you have a black shirt? And I was like, yeah, I just haven't. Right. He's like, we need a busser, and we need him yesterday. Like the guy was always like, you know, hype and always trying to do something. A lot of energy. It's a guy with a lot of energy. Do you know how to bus? I had no fucking idea what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Because he was like, we need a busser. I had no experience in the industry or anything. And me main I'm like, is he gonna make me wash like a bus or something? Like, a lavar el carro, like, what's a busser? And then obviously he breaks it down. Okay, look, this is what you gotta do. This is not a science. You need to make sure the tables are set up for the guests, give them water, clean the tables, make sure that everything's nice and tidy. This is the station. So that was my first experience, as I was also in City College. It caught my eye. There used to be this, the bartender, un chileno, super, you know, eccentric, outgoing guy. He was behind the bar. He was the bartender. And I always used to look at him from the bus station like, that guy's cool.
Looks cool there.
He looks cool, you know, and he's talking to the ladies, and he's shaking, and he's doing all these cool concoctions and everything. And that's when, like, that little spark was lit. So I ended up there doing busser, runner, and I became a barback at Teca.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Teca closes like 3 or 4 months after I started working there, just when I became a barback, just when I started showing interest to become a bartender.
Good.
So yeah, again, there's a long story. Please.
Please.
No.
So that's like the first part. Second part, so I leave Teca. We all got fired with like 3 days of notice.
Shoot.
Cool. So I leave Teca. I'm still in college. Fail the semester. Start again. And I started working with an uncle. He had a restaurant in Flatbush, I think. And that's when I get a little bit familiar with like cashier and doing all of this stuff. But I still wanted to go to the bar. There was something in me that like still wanted to like try the bar scene.
And you used to travel all the way from
Bushwick to the city, and then subway always.
Wow. That's a long ride. I mean, especially
Was a ride.
Yeah, Flatbush.
Was a ride. So Bushwick to the city for Teca, and then when I started working in my uncle's restaurant, to Flatbush, I leave that job and I get a job at this place called Bazaar in Bushwick.
Oh yeah, that between Broadway and Middle.
Yes.
Cool.
Right on Broadway.
It's been that's
going
been
down
for a while, right?
I think
Oh, it's still there?
the owner still owns the place and the building. It's no longer an open bar.
No.
I think he just opens it up for like events.
Oh.
I heard that also they use it for like film, like set up films or whatever.
Yes, he's the owner. He's a French director. Yeah, at that point, Bazaar was like a functioning bar every day. And I think that's when I really started honing in the love for the industry. In Bazaar is where I met my closest friends nowadays, that they're mentors, because they're all older than me, to be honest. I was like this 21-year-old kid surrounded by like 40, 45, 30-something-year-old men. And cool. So I'm there. I started Bazaar. Bazaar was really interesting. This was in the year 2015, 2014, when Bushwick started getting gentrified. So at that time, there was like a surgence of the drag scene in Bushwick.
Yeah.
And Bazaar was like one of those bars that definitely like helped foster like the drag culture in Bushwick and what it would become.
Okay.
So that's where I was. I was at the center of like.
Yeah, because I remember Bizarre, like, it was like a super cute, on the outside, you get in, it was a bar, but they have also like a big stage.
A big stage.
So it was like super fun for events.
Super, super fun, man. I was like 21 years old at the middle of like art, graffiti, culture. And that's when I get, really start honing in and seeing the
And
love.
they have like a weird lamps, right?
They have weird lamps. It was red. It looks like you're walking into like a dungeon.
I was gonna say
It was spooky.
It was like
It was spooky.
What is this called? This place is called like oh my god. Remember this place in the Norway that's called Nurse Betty?
Nurse Betty, yeah.
Like this is what I was picturing myself.
Yeah, it's like darkish, and the lights were red, and it was burlesque, it was drag, it was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
acrobatics, it was
Also concerts. It was super
concerts.
fun.
It was super cool. Those were, again, I meet my best friends to this day, and I think from the things that I saw there attracted my eye so much that's when I was like, I'm dropping out of college, and I think I want to do this. So, drop out of college, and decided to just like
And
go
were,
all
were
in.
you bartending there or were you?
No. There I was only bar backing.
Okay.
Bar backing, running. It was one of the challenges when I first started. At that time in Bushwick, how do I word this? Era como que I tried. I think I had the experience, I had the knowledge. But at that time it was really hard kind of like breaking in as a bartender.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
Because, I didn't fit a certain look, or it comes to a point that you almost looked upon as like the help.
Yeah.
So I stayed bar backing for a few years until I was like, okay, I gotta.
Yeah, I think one of the things is also people think it's age, and people also don't see you like as the. We said it in the podcast. The stash, the tattoos, that's the.
No, I was just, little Dominican kid from, but I knew how to make the drinks. I knew how to do all these things, but it just didn't happen, which is fine. And I learned my ropes as a barback. So I leave Bazaar, and then I start working at Shelter in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And that, I think, completes like the story where like stamps me as like, okay, this is what I want to do now as a career. So this is where I got my first bar mentor. So I started working in Shelter. It was this place in North 7 and White. It was two places in one. It was Shelter on one side, Rosarito on the other side. Shelter was more like Argentinian style pizzas and empanadas. Napolitan style pizza, Argentinian style empanadas. Rosarito was tequileria, mezcaleria, tacos.
Like seafood.
Seafood, delicioso.
Yeah,
Delicious
Rosarito
food.
sounds like a place. I think it's the Sonora Rosarito.
Es una ciudad, es like a town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little town
In Mexico, like
in
up
Mexico.
north. Yeah.
And this is where I start, really falling in love with the craft of like, I don't like using this word mixology, but yes, with like mixology and cocktails and how a bar functions. So this is where I start learning under my good friend and mentor, Roberto Braco, which she's doing.
Shout out to Roberto.
Shout out to Roberto Braco, Bello, which now he's doing amazing things with the Dante group. But this is where Roberto definitely introduces me to the art of, cocktails and the craft scene. And from the shake to the pouring and the techniques and the measuring and balancing a cocktail and how passionate he was. This is where it's like, okay, no, my mom doesn't have to disown me anymore. Mommy, this is a career. I'm telling you, when I told my mom I was dropping out of college to become a bartender, coming from Turkey, mira muchacho, el diario, así que la canción de Gabone.
Mira, muchacho.
Eres un científico, you wanted to be a scientist. I'm like, but I'm kind of doing science behind the bar. And he's like, eso no tiene diploma. And I'm like, okay, but this is where now sí, ahora déjate tranquila. No, now she understands, but it took her a while. And when I got into shelter, this is when I saw like, oh, this is actually something that, like, this is an art. This is a craft. And nothing, I started learning on the Roberto, and in like a year, I finally became a bartender at shelter.
Nice.
And that is when I officially like cement myself as a bartender. And that was the year 2017.
How do you feel?
Oh man, it felt like a culmination of like, from I first started right after like graduating high school, 2012-ish, 2013-ish, all the way to like 2016, 2017. Actually, I think I
4 years.
Five. It was like mid-2017 I became a bartender. It took me like a good 5 years, and it's like, wow.
You know,
Well, so you went to college.
I went to college. There you go. Good observation.
Good observation. Because the time that took you to get it, like, you know.
I would have gotten a degree.
Yeah.
La universidad de la calle, de la escuela de...
But
Charter University.
this place
Yeah.
prepare you to be there already, you know, because if you wouldn't have gone through this process,
No.
you'll now know what the busy space is. Like, you know what back of the house and front of the house kind of like relate when it comes to bartending, and, you know, cross collaborating sometimes. Because if you're a barback, you have to go to the back. And, you know, like grab the ice, talk to somebody, run upstairs, fill the juices, pour the bottles, drink the bottles.
Squeeze lines, man. I remember, and again, I'm talking about pre-pandemic. There was a time that Rosarito, so I was a barback at Shelter in Rosarito, but the days that I used to work at Rosarito, I used to work with this guy named Fernando. Shout out Fernando. He was a Bible when it came to tequila and mezcal.
Wow.
Literally everything, the majority of things that I know when it comes to like agave itself, this guy lived, breathed, slept agave. So I learned a lot about him when it comes to the agave side. But Rosarito at those days were so busy that as a barback, he actually just wanted me to do one thing. He's like, I'll take care of the cleaning, I'll take care of everything. You squeeze limes, make margaritas.
Oh shit, yeah.
That's all I did at Rosarito. So I would squeeze up to like 2 boxes of like limes and lemons every day.
By hand or with this?
With the little, with a little, no. I mean, Gallo, I mean, I think I got the strongest grip in the world at this point from all the, and sometimes your hand will get caught in the machine. And they used to be in the kitchen. So all the cooks used to say, no mames, man. I remember they used to make fun of me. We're Dominicano. So definitely learned my ropes there as a barback. But yeah, good times.
You know, now that you mentioned that, it's like when you learn this process, it's so freaking uplifting because you think from point A to point B, and where you are nowadays, you know, it's like, fuck, it took me all this time to this process. You good?
No.
Oh. It took me all this time and all this learning to get to this point. And you know, the people that you meet through this process, that's what like that's most important, because that guy that you mentioned who showed you the agave knowledge, and then the guy who taught you how to be a bartender or show you the ropes. I feel like those guys are very important in our lives when we are coming up, because if we don't have those helps, we don't have their mentorship, we're still gonna be asking for help to this day, you know.
Man, it's like I relate it almost to like, no sense if you guys have played video games, but when you're about to go to the next level, there's like always like this helper or like this guide that teaches you, and then you keep leveling up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So definitely formative years, and just falling in love with the process.
Yeah,
That you don't see it when you're doing it. Cuando tú estás haciéndolo, like, it's like, oh man, fuck, work again.
Yeah.
But when you zoom out, you like, wow, if, like you said, if I didn't do this, then maybe it would have not led to like these opportunities.
yeah,
So that's really important, man.
yeah. And people, like I say, people, because this is a people's business. We don't really see the like we were talking-
Hospitality.
hospitality.
Yeah.
We were talking about, somebody hiring somebody for their bar, but if that person has to hire that person because, okay, I'm gonna work with you, or you wanna work in the establishment for more than 40 hours, what I need to know you from? Like you have to have a charisma, first of all, like if you want to bartend, but you also have to be like open to learn. Like it doesn't matter how many drinks you know, how many cocktails you know, what infusions and foul washes and all this stuff.
Oh.
The place you go is a place that they're gonna teach you their process, their specs, their ingredients, and like perhaps their selections, and spirits.
100%.
Every place is very different to every place.
100%.
Even though you have the same basic structure, every place is different.
And it's good because as you go from place to place, is the concept of novelty.
Yes.
It's the concept of always learning. One of the best advice Roberto gave me, which I still remember this to this day. I apply it in my own life, and whenever like I meet like a new barback or a bartender, I always try to share this experience. This lesson is, él me decía, whenever I used to barback, él me decía, Bello, si te aprendes una botella al día, en un año son 365 botellas. Wow. If you read the label of one bottle a day, just one bottle, as you're going up to the walk-in or to the liquor room, and you pick, I don't know, Hendrix, or you pick a bottle of a wine, and you just read the label. He always used to tell me one bottle a day is 365 bottles in a year. That at the end of the year, you're not going to remember everything the 365 bottles said, but you start building that catalog. You start building that library. Mm-hmm. And maybe you remember 30, or maybe you remember 40.
Yeah.
And, whenever you go to some place, you see that bottle like, oh, wow, this.
I know that one.
I know that one.
Yeah.
So it's something that I try to apply in my life. Always like learning, even if it's like one little thing a day.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I mean, and it also comes back to mentorship. Because
Yeah.
if that person would have said that to you, then you could be like, just another bottle with dust in there on the side.
Or just picking up things.
Definitely. It definitely changed my perspective every time I used to go into the walk-in to cry. Hey,
We all did it.
we all cry in the walk-in. But it's like, you know what? At least I'm going to cry reading the label, man. Like, you know what? Okay, this is from Spain. So, yeah, mentorship and the willingness to learn, to always want to know more.
Yeah.
So once you graduated shelter, did you go somewhere else?
No, I stayed in shelter 7 years.
Oh wow.
So shelter, I ended up being barback, runner, server, but that lasted 2 days because my skills were in the bar.
Yeah, usually bartenders are hard
Horrible.
to be servers.
I was tripping over stuff. I was mixing up orders.
You know what it is, honestly, now, because I see it from a different perspective. I also, I've served. And when you are at a bar, you have more control of the situation, and you have like,
That's exactly how I felt.
And when you're
Yeah.
taking an order, sometimes people want to give you the order, things that they want, things that we don't have to offer, and things that they think we can offer. Or, because every place is very different. If you go to, 11 Madison Park and you say, hey, can I have my burger? But can you please add some fries on the side? Like, we don't offer burgers, we don't offer fries, For example, same thing with drinks. If you create a cocktail for one reason, all the ingredients make sense for that one cocktail, but they don't want a certain ingredient because, we can refer you to a different drink, but we cannot deconstruct this cocktail because this cocktail makes sense for that one reason. But sometimes, our guests don't understand it. And when it comes to the bar, it's easier for you to say that because we kind of like know the bottles and say,
Yeah.
hey, I can build something, create something for you, for your palate. When it comes to the servers, they don't have that they're like, oh, they might have to ask if we can change it. And I feel like that's the situation that I didn't
But
like.
also, I think when you serve, you have a different timing because when you're a bartender,
You control that timing.
You're controlling. But here it's like you have to fire table 100. You have to, put water on table 90, or table 70 is asking you for things that.
Guys, I'm getting PTSD. I'm getting PTSD. Oh my God. Yeah.
Or you forget to put order.
Hold on, go to the walking.
Leave the bottle. No. Always leave the bottle.
Yeah.
No, pero yeah, and it's that control. I remember, so in the little time that I did serving at shelter, the bar used to be here, and then the tables used to be, and this was, so I did serving during the pandemic.
And they used to have tables outside.
And we used to have tables outside. So, it was really short staff. At that point, it was only 3 of us running the whole restaurant, Rosarito, and shelter. So it was literally 1 bartender, the cooks, the chef, 1 bartender in shelter, 1 bartender in Rosarito, and it was like 1 server for both sides, and the bartenders will also get out and help out. But in the time that I did serving, we didn't keep the tables indoor. It had to be outside.
Yeah.
So you had to go all the way to a bar, get the drinks, and then just on your way when it used to get busy outside, it's everybody's pulling your attention. So it's like on the way to deliver this gin and soda, this person's calling my attention. And then when I get back, also more. So that loss of control for me was like, I can't serve. My mind just doesn't. Shout out to servers. So much respect. But I did it for a while. Learned how to like multitask a little bit more. But definitely behind the bar was where
belong.
where I belong. Yeah. I'm home, baby. I'm home. But yeah, served there. Then I ended up becoming bar manager there. And yeah, so did the whole thing. So
were you the bar manager for both places or for what?
For Rosarito and Shelter.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So was bar manager there almost the last 2 years, or a year and a half, 2 years that I was at Shelter.
And then after Shelter, did you work somewhere else, or were you went to?
Funny enough, so while I was in Shelter, I also used to do like a little bit of consulting on the side. I picked up photography. So I love visuals. I'm a visual creator as well. I like communicating my world through photos and videos. So I was doing that. Fun story. So after Shelter, I was actually going to go to Thailand.
Cool.
I had gotten an interest at that time in Muay Thai.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to take a break. I wanted to take a sabbatical, disappear for 6 months, come back, knowing a little bit of Muay Thai. So my last week of Shelter, one of my regulars comes by, and crazy. And I tell him the whole thing. He used to get a spicy pineapple mezcal margarita with half Tajín rim.
Oh.
Yeah. And 4 ice cubes. He was like, really, like, this is what I want. And I tell him, yo, what's up? Yo, it's my last week at Shelter. Like, I'm going to Thailand. I'm doing this whole thing. I had already like spoken to the coach and the school I was going to go to. They do like fighting and lodging, which is pretty cool. It was like kind of cheap.
What is that, Tiger or Three Coins?
No, it was called Chinarak, something like that. It was in one of the islands in Thailand. Chinarak something. Yeah, and I was gonna do like the whole lodging, and then you live in the gym, but in a little, hut in the gym.
You get beat up and everything.
Yeah, and you train twice a day. I was gonna do that for 6 months, and then come back and resume. So okay, this regular comes in, and I tell him the whole thing, and he's like, I literally remember his reaction. He's like, no, you can't leave. And I'm like, yes, I can. And he's like, no, you don't understand. I came here to talk to you today. And I'm like, why? And he's like, I bought a bar and I don't know nothing about bars.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so why you bought a bar? He was like, because I wanted a bar. But, I've known you for X amount of years. I like how you, I need you to help me open this bar. And I'm like, man. Then we talked money, and I was like, okay. No, but I thought about it. And the itch was just like, here I had like an opportunity to actually do sort of my own thing, have creative, control, which I had at Shelter.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like the next step of like stepping out on my own and actually building something, because Shelter was handed down to me.
Yeah.
And to Anita, of course, she helped me a lot. Anita was my coworker and still great friend today at Shelter. She was also a bar manager at some point, and she helped me with that transition. Anita, I love you.
Gracias.
Gracias, Lele. But this definitely gave me the opportunity to like, now I had to like, building the team was on me, building the system, the logistics, bringing in all the distributors, order inventory, things I was already doing at Shelter, maintaining a system, trying to help it, grow. But now I had the opportunity to like create something from scratch. Yeah. And that itself was too big of an opportunity if I really wanted to grow in this career. So I canceled my trip to Thailand and asked idea. And I helped open up a Mano. It was across the street from Leyenda.
Yeah.
In Cabo Hill, Carroll Gardens, that area. You got Barely Disfigured Up the Block, Clover Club.
Yeah.
Right there. And I opened up a Mano. It was August 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, 2023. So that was a whole experience in and of itself.
Cool.
Learned a lot, did a lot of mistakes, and
That's how you learn.
that's how you learn.
Yeah, that's what I learn. Like when you make mistakes, you improve.
I'm not shy of it.
No,
I'm not shy of
that's
it.
good.
But that's where like my passion for like the logistics and the system of a bar definitely like elevated to another level.
Okay.
Because now, you have more eyes on you now, because this is like, oh, this is your baby.
Yeah,
now.
no, and everybody's waiting
know?
for you to make a decision and take a decision.
Yeah.
Take lead. It's
Yeah.
easier. It's
Yeah.
easier, like you said, when somebody hands you a program, because you already know how.
There's a
how it
system.
goes.
There's a system in
But when
place.
you're building it, everyone is listening for your advice and your
Yep.
lead.
And sometimes you don't have the answers. And it's like when everybody's looking at you and you're like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm as lost as you. I'm sorry, I'm as lost as you are right now.
ChatGPT.
And like, there was no, you know what? I grew up in an era that I made 25 page, and I'm proud of that. Let me just mention that as a parenthesis. I made 25 page essays for high school and college without ChatGPT.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I'm so proud of it.
Yeah, me too.
like-
That came from my brain in the library.
imagination, like now that you mentioned when you started thinking and tried to write a essay or whatever, or certain amount of words, just doing 2 pages is enough for you to like put your brain into
man.
like
I had this
think the possibilities. Why not?
Man, I had this college professor, man, for a bio class, and his rules were Times New Roman 11 font. So 12 font is usually like the standard, but he used to like even smaller. It was Times New Roman 11 font with 0 spacing, because you could cheat a little bit with the space in between to make it longer.
How many pages?
I think the last paper for him was like 8-9 pages,
No, shit.
and it was on like the chemicals passing through the cell wall and receptors and the whole thing.
If you guys know about that, let us know, because we.
I don't know about that. Yeah, no ChatGPT back in those days.
No,
So-
and then you have to like, I remember they were like, especially CUNY is like berries, putting the no plagiarism, right?
No plagiarism.
And it was like, oh my God, but I need to like at least,
I need to plagiarize a little.
because I don't know, I don't have more
Yeah,
words.
And so you really had to like use brain capacity. ChatGPT definitely was around in 2023 when I helped open a mano, but it wasn't how it is today. So use all the resources
Yeah.
as possible. I'm a big believer in that. So I was at a mano for like a year and a half and learned a lot. Great program. Things unfortunately didn't work out. The owners also had like their differences. Things happened around mid 2024. That's when in a conversation with a good friend of mine that you guys probably know, Kiwi.
Oh,
Shout out Kiwi, shout out mi pana.
yeah.
He actually was the one that made me aware of
Brand ambassador.
the brand ambassador position of Ron del Barrilito. I've never been a brand ambassador in my life, but most of my friends were ambassadors. Good friends of mine, Marcelo, Felipe, that you guys know, Herradura and Yola, a bunch of brand ambassador friends, and I always had that curiosity. And that's when, I was like, you know what, let me try it out.
And how did this process came to happen? Did somebody reach out to you?
You reached out.
Did you apply for the role?
So Kiwi had sent me the email of the person, to send with my resume, cover letter. Okay. This is how I guess the universe was working in my favor. Guys, my last interview outside of Barrilito, the last interview that I had was when I got the job at Bazaar. This was back in.
So that was 7 years, 9 years.
Yeah, this was like, Bazaar was like 2015, 2016. When I was still like barbacking.
Yeah.
So, and the question was, do you know how to change a keg? That was the interview. And I was like, yeah, I do. And then get blasted by beer. But
Wait, I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
the IPO, I'm like, yes, it's coming. That was my last interview. So I've never done a formal interview. So I've never done a podcast. So I'm just here raw dogging life, I'm just going at it.
Me here.
First time doing a podcast.
That's
So
So you know what?
guys.
Why don't we cheer with because you're here. Let's cheer with
Ooh.
alone.
I think we could do a little
Anything you like.
cheers.
And then we talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Please. And then I'll get a little bit more into it
Yeah, we
later.
wanna go there.
But this is
Why
the
don't we
3-star.
celebrate you're here, celebrate in the studio also. Boiling up,
Love this.
led by our professional host here.
And I'm just gonna watch you guys because unfortunately I cannot drink today. And I mean, you're gonna ask why. But cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you for being here. Cheers with Barbarito.
Oh, yeah.
Rico. Yeah.
That's the stuff.
Damn.
But
And then?
that's, I sent in the resume. And not only did I went from having 0 interviews in like 7, 8 years, I went from that to having 4 interviews back to back.
Oh,
So
those are
yeah.
funny,
With
though.
with the same.
no, with different.
Oh, different, okay.
Yeah, because it was through the person that I sent the resume to. Then it was like who that team manager was. Then it was the director of
Operations
of Galo,
Oh.
because Barrilito is part of the Galo Spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally the director of operations in Barrilito. So it went from not never, but from rarely doing interviews to like full-blown 4 back-to-back interviews. Like every job I've had before Barrilito has been through like word of mouth or like I really never had to do like an interview until getting with Barrilito, yes.
And I mean, obviously, you're here, but how do you feel?
I was nervous. I was shitting my pants. I was nervous, but again, I try to be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you started working with Barbarito, what was your first impression? Like, what was it like?
Shock.
I'm like here because I wanted to work with this brand. I know they're from Puerto Rico based, but we're like, we've been to Puerto Rico, we love the brand also, but we're like, this is something that connects me to my roots at the same time because, like the Dominican Republic also has rum. They also make a different kind of rum from Cuba because when Cuba exported and moved out. So I think...
it was definitely like, once I got hired, I was like, I had to take a moment to be like, oh, I'm really this now. Like,
Happening.
yeah, it's happening. So prior to getting hired with Barrilito in 2024, I knew of the rum like 3-4 years prior. So and I don't remember, because I think distribution started in 23
In the States.
in the States, but the way I used to get it wasn't through like the distributor that we have now. My friends will always bring me a bottle from Puerto Rico, and I used to have it in the back bars, in the back bar. And whenever somebody wanted like a daiquiri with something like age, it was like my little secret.
That's cool.
You know, I always used to bring out the bottle of Barrilito. And yeah, my friends that when they used to come back from Puerto Rico, they always used to bring me, like you were telling me, yeah, your friends. That's how I became familiar with Barrilito. So I always enjoyed the rum itself, like even years before knowing that I was going to be a brand ambassador for them. So when I got hired for the position, it was like, wow, this is like la vuelta que da la vida.
To the
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
And then you never expected it, because you're like, you didn't plan to be there, but it happened, like organically. It would led you to this.
Organically. It was like leaving a mano. I was unemployed maximum like 2 months. Yeah, because while I was leaving a mano, it just so happens I was in the process of, onboarding with Barrilito. So everything just like, and the same, even from shelter to a mano, it was that. It was like I was going to go to Thailand, but then not really. Then right away went into a mano. As I was leaving a mano, I was like onboarding. So things have happened with a sort of flow in my life. One of the things I am, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Not a bad thing, but yo soy muy curioso. Curiosity.
Like a cat.
I think that's my skill. I think that's my skill.
Yeah.
I'm not the best speaker. I'm not the most charismatic in the world. I think my curiosity drives me. I always want to once I see something that I like, I get curious.
You want to know about
I want to know more. Is that itch? So curiosity. I always try to be and that has led me to where I am today. And I guess it will keep driving any other future decisions. But curiosity has always been my driver.
I think that's also part of like the being open to learn, because if you have the curiosity, you want to know more, and when you want to know more, that the more information. Like going back to what I always say, like I remember, I think I was probably like 22 years old, and I was working at a supermarket.
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
I wish. And one of the managers, I think he was the owner. He was like, you have to have an owner mentality, but without being an owner. Because if you own, your mind is gonna take you, lead you places, because you are open to information.
Exactly.
Like just be open to absorb as much as you can. Because if you don't absorb information, the moment you start stopping,
That's it.
You're
That's-
like, oh, okay, things have to change.
That's when yo soy estudiante de la vida. Porque the moment you internally, when your ego decides that you know it all, that's when the world keeps spinning without you. That's when new techniques and new ways of doing things start, appearing, and you just don't adapt because you think your way is the way. And it's something that I also have to check myself sometimes also. Like reminding myself no, I don't know it all. Even if this is the best way that I know, that doesn't mean that is the best way to do it in general.
The only one, yeah.
Exactly.
So tell us about little story about Ron del Barrilito for people
Okay.
to know.
So this is where I turn into a brand ambassador.
To new format.
Ron del Barrilito is one, if not the oldest rum in Puerto Rico. This is a rum that has been produced in the same place and a recipe that has been unchanged since 1880. So 145 years and proudly counting. Our flagship is the 3 stars. So this is the original recipe from the founder himself. So quick little fun story. the founder was actually a chemical engineer. He was a scientist.
Wow.
So actually, if you visit the hacienda in Puerto Rico, you can still see his chemistry books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was an interesting guy, by the way. Like
Please, Ron del Barrilito invite us. I want to know that. I want to know that. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Please, whenever you guys are in Puerto Rico, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. Next time.
So the founder was a chemical engineer, interesting man. He was like a Renaissance man almost at that time. You could see like his books in like fencing in German, how to like cut grass, and how he was a really interesting guy. But the founder, he studied in France, chemical engineering. In France, he actually fell in love with cognac. So when he came back from from France to Puerto Rico, he had this all this sugarcane land that was passed down from his father's father, the whole thing, and he wanted to make a rum almost paying homage
To cognac.
to cognac. So he brought himself like a copper pot still from France and almost try to do certain like techniques and processes as cognac, and he just started playing around. It was a side hobby for him, a passion, and he had many different recipes and batches that he'll let his friends and family try. But what he used to carry his own little like special batch in a little barrel just like that one.
Show me the little
In a little barrilito.
Wow.
for the camera to see,
And a little barrilito, just like that.
with a little faucet.
And with a little faucet just to there, ya tú sabes.
Ya tú
But
sabes.
I think it came to a point that everybody was like, all the other stuff you gave me in school, pero nosotros queremos el ron del barrilito. We want the rum from the little barrel.
And so that's where the name came from. Okay.
That's where the name came from. And then in 1880, he was like, hey, I have something here. People seem to identify with this that I'm doing. Let me make it into a thing. And this is where this beautiful thing is born. That is the genesis of Ron del Barrilito. And
1880.
1880. There
It's
you go.
actually on the top, yeah.
It's actually on the top. So that's where the 3-star is born. Now, the 2-star in particular comes after the 3-star, funny enough. The 2-star was made as a response to Prohibition. So after Prohibition, the company was like, let's move, because the 3-star is aged 6 to 10 years in all certified Oloroso sherry cask that we import from the Jerez region in Spain. The company was like, hey, look, let's, make our 3-star, but because we have to kickstart production and make some money, let's also start selling anything that's aged from 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
So it's younger. So that's a 2-star, aged 3 to 5 years, and the 3-star aged 6 to 10 years. And then we have this, which is the creation, the Santana, which is our sister brand, personal creation of our master blender, Luis Planas, and that is our overproof. So that baby is 138 proof, 69% ABV,
I was gonna see that.
Oh, that's what it's 130. Oh, okay.
138.
So 138
But
for the proof.
The way that I like to describe it is that it's an overproof with character, because it still undergoes that aging process. We still age it 2 years in those Oloroso sherry casks from start to finish. So in those 2 years, there is time there to impart color, texture, and flavor from the barrel. And yeah, all our expressions go through that process. That's where we get the color, texture, and flavor. So there's no artificial colors or flavorings in it.
Just the barrel.
Just the barrel. So I like to describe it as 3 ingredients to make this. Obviously sugarcane, because rum.
Yeah.
Barrel, that's where we got the color, texture, and flavor. And rainwater. So we collect rainwater in Bayamón, Puerto Rico, because it always rains there every day.
Wow.
And that's what we use to dilute.
So you guys are drinking a little bit of Mayamon here whenever you guys have
Every sip is a sip of Bayamón
Mayamon.
itself.
And I guess people also have this question sometimes. Like, is it made from molasses or from sugarcane? And you mentioned this.
So it's actually a blend. So it's
Yeah.
actually a blend of first press sugarcane juice and molasses as well. Yeah.
Wow. If you guys haven't tried, honestly, the Ron del Barrilito, it's a really good product. I like it. I have it at my bar.
Ooh, you make that delicious the toddy.
I'll tell you, yeah.
Oh man, you guys have to go to Freeman and try the Barrilito toddy. It's
It was
delicious.
actually not my creation. It was one of the bartenders. Her name
Yeah.
is Tia. I want to shout out Tia. And I feel like
Shout
it's
out
also
Tia.
important that I always say I'm the bartender, but I'm not a bartender without the team. So,
Okay.
you know, I always try to give that. And that was taught from my mentors, like you have to acknowledge the team because the team is important. The team that is with you, doesn't matter if they started like 3 years ago, 6 months ago, or a month
The
now.
first day, once you start working in a place,
Yeah, you're part
of
of the team. Yeah, and I feel like
Yep.
sometimes people like take time for them to be like part of a team, but I think once you make them the team,
Yep.
like you guys are part of the team. Anyway, shout out to them.
So answer them, and it's true because it's like almost gears in a watch. You know, every piece is so important for the system to work organically.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful once like everybody knows each other's like work chemistry.
Yeah.
And I sometimes go to bars and I sit down and like just have a drink on my own and just like stare and like look back at how everybody knows what they're doing, and it's almost like a dance.
Yeah, it is.
From like
It's like a choreography.
It's
that you
like a
never-
choreography.
that you never rehearse.
you know, yeah, but it's all based on like work chemistry, and you know how you move, and you know how you move
Yeah.
from the service station to the floor. Yeah, it's a beautiful dance. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I always, I'm very passionate about hospitality, and I advise, new generations they start working or they want to work in hospitality. It's like any other job, but I feel like you have to be always mentally prepared to you're part of the team, and if you don't work together with other person, either you are like messing with your money or
Yeah,
with
'cause it
or someone
affects
else's
your
money.
it does.
It affects your money because ultimately, rather like being part of the team, you're part of a group of people who try to serve others in order for you to make money and put it over your head, pay your tuition, pay your gym membership, pay whatever you want. But like everyone is like there for the same goal, right?
They're for the same goal.
Yeah, and also like we honestly like at one point we started loving it. Like you say, it grows in you because you're part of it. People, the connections, the things that you can explore. It's so vast.
And I love personally seeing how the industry has grown in the past, decade plus. That now, like when I first started barbacking, definitely my mom wasn't too fan of the idea of like being a bartender. But I think now bartending has more resources available, and that you can make a career out of this.
Yeah.
And it does. I feel like it still kind of does, but the stigma is changing of like, oh, you're a bartender, but what do you really want to do? You know? Because I used to get those questions. Oh, what are you doing after this? And it's like, this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because also I think it was, very well known that many servers, they were actors, right? So that way they choose to work in restaurants because, they have the freedom to go to the rehearsals, auditions and everything. But then eventually there's like a lot of like people that, they fall in love with this. And then, like you said, the industry has changed a lot in terms of like, now a Mexican or Dominican, they can be head bartenders, right?
Yeah,
so they're like more openness about not, keeping the bar for themselves, but like sharing it. And,
100%.
Nowadays we have all these events, like,
Yeah.
for example, Perla Negra invites all the Dominicans.
Shout out Perla Negra.
Yeah, Police and Felix as well. And, like we have more like Latinos representing not just
Yes.
the community, but also like bringing the flavor, right?
El sazón.
Like you were mentioning the other day that, for example, Kiwi, when he's in working here around.
He's in Aftermath.
Then
Yes.
she has like a Mama Juana drink. Like, how do you like? You never thought about like
Man,
like
that-
10 years ago you're gonna find
That makes
cocktail
me
with-
so proud as a Dominican, because Mama Juana is so traditionally like Dominican. Like every family has their own recipe, and seeing like what he's trying to do with mi pana is like it makes me proud as a Dominican. So
Oh, yeah.
shout out Kiwi.
Yeah,
Shout out
and,
to
and you know, like going back to like the change that happened during 2020, I think it was good in a really good way in terms of in our community, we actually got to be forefront during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and we got opportunities. A lot of people left and moved to different states and whatnot, and then we stayed. So the one
We're the survivors.
yeah, so we
Yeah.
stayed and we got the promotions. I say we because I'm part of them, and I've seen a lot of anywhere with in a lot of different bars and restaurants that people were barbecing, the people were just buzzing, and they weren't promoted. So when this
Yeah.
happened, everybody was like, okay, so this guy needs to move up because we are short staffed. But at the same time, he was 3 years behind from being promoted. So I think this is not going to be controversial. I'm just trying to point it out because if this wouldn't have happened, or unfortunately, the pandemic came in. We went through a really bad phase. But I think in the hospitality service, things changed, and now you see people also coming from Mexico and doing pop-ups here in different bars and whatnot.
I love it.
I've never seen that, but I never
love
saw
to
that
see
in the
it.
past.
Yeah, but I mean, when I started bartending back in 2017ish, 2016ish, which is crazy. Saying 2016 is a decade ago.
I know.
Yeah.
Like I still play music from 2016. It's like,
Yeah.
but you kind of saw it, but not as much as today. Where you have all these collaborations happening with bars flying in, flying out. So
Yeah.
it's this again. Social media has helped a lot. Another big resource. I love how Jay, which you had in your Jay,
Yeah,
babe,
yeah.
yeah.
Jay Bay, yeah, that you had in your last podcast.
Shout out to Jay.
Shout out Jay. He mentioned like, which I don't want to say is also a negative, but because it's also a positive. How nowadays almost every bartender or bar manager or bar kind of feels that pressure to like be on social media. So you also have to be like a content creator nowadays
Yeah.
to get that exposure.
Yeah.
Though which is also good, because that tool is there.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So-
I'm 100% of like fan of mass media because
Yes.
also we have the opportunity to have this podcast and being produced by Edgar and me and
Which
and
I wanted to ask you guys personally, how did this came to be?
So we started thinking about it. I think 2023, 2022.
2020.
We went to New Orleans, and then we came back, and I've always had I always wanted to do something because it's funny because during the pandemic actually I started recording myself and doing like tutorials on how to make cocktails, this and that, and people were actually tipping me online. So they were like, "Hey,
Nice.
can you share your sale or whatever, your Venmo?" And I was like, "Okay," and I made a little bit of money. Like they tipped me.
Nice.
And I thought this was gonna be a good thing, but I kind of pulled back because I started working more.
Yeah.
So I kind of
Because it's
forgot
a
about-
risk.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that completely. And then Nuri and I we came back from New Orleans and we said like we know all these friends, we know all these people who they don't know their faces.
And I think we work good as a team because Edgar is a seasoned bartender. We both work in the hospitality, and my major in college is media production, documentary production.
Nice.
So I was like, I have this tool, the skills. You have your skills and tools. Let's do something that we are, and because also during the pandemic there was a lot of like content creators and saying things and everything, and I was like, we always have like these conversations with our friends, like
at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
always sit and we
Even
talk.
like when I came in earlier, where you sat there and we just started like talking,
Yeah.
like a good 15,
Yeah.
15 20 minutes, and it just flows.
And I always said that, and I think many people says that you have this conversation and it's like, damn, I wish I recorded it so we can remember this conversation. And then the other part is like, we want to have this space for like, Latinos especially, but also for like many other faces. So we want to build like, again, that sense of community that is not just the picture of Instagram. It's like, you've been here for like, you're a New Yorker. We came to New York and, we've been seeing many changes in the hospitality industry, but at the same time, it's like, let's go back to when we have fun being together, not just worry about taking a picture.
Yeah, and also like what you say, like the Latino community, like we are so huge, but at the same time, we all know each other some way, somehow. There's a chain reaction that I call when you know someone who knows somebody, and that somebody knows somebody. And it's so fun when you connect with a friend of a friend that you don't know, like, and then you just like, oh, like I'm gonna use the example of Kiwi as an example, because I'm gonna say, oh, do you know Kiwi? It's like, of course, I know Kiwi. How do you know Kiwi? So this kind of connects us, and I feel like we talk, at a bar or we meet each other like at an event or something like that, and we wanted to say like put this on video and showcase that person who's like talking to us and know the stories more than anything, because in reality, like, the product is good, it's great, and it has a brand and it's been there for so many years. But the person, how do you get there? Like the process. I always say, like I use this line is trust the process.
Yep.
Because the process is gonna get you to point A to point B. But yeah, I think knowing more the person, the human part of you telling your story, not me telling your story. Because when you have a conversation with somebody, information transfers and changes.
It's how stories get changed over the years. Exactly. Yeah.
So when they hear a story from you, and this is your personal experience, I think it's also something like emotional in there with you, that you can express and the feeling is facial. Like, I don't even know how to explain it honestly, but when we say something, we kind of like have the facial expressions. We're like, we do that all the time as humans.
And I feel so comfortable being here. Let me tell you, like, I told you when I first came in that I'm really, really camera shy, but I feel so comfortable. So you guys are like natural at this. So I'm happy you guys are doing this. Really, really, really.
No, and honestly, like, besides that, we have, tons of brands, tons of like bartenders, and I feel like, you can find things in Google and everything, but it's super cool that also people that they tell us, right? Like sometimes they are like doing their laundry and they can, listen to the podcast and learning about, and like we always said as well that now people, they will recognize you and says like, oh, this guy also was a barback like me. And if I trust the process, then one day I can be a bartender.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to when you started saying that you were young, 20, and that happens a lot because they see that you're young, and that sometimes they don't want to put somebody who's younger behind the bar because they think they're gonna get trashed. But sometimes you don't know that a younger person could be very responsible. Sometimes a 21 could be more responsible than a 40-year-old. And I don't want to compare people, but it's reality, and that happens, like in any field, honestly. It doesn't have to be bartending, you go behind the bar. But I feel like sometimes that's what people look at. Like if you apply for a job, you came out of college and you applied to be a scientist or whatever, unless you did an internship of a year, it'd be like, you need at least 3 years of experience. Yeah. And like, how am I going to require experience?
And where do I get the experience if nobody gives me the experience?
Yeah.
Give you an opportunity to succeed, and then I'll talk, I think that's the main point. Like the opportunity to succeed.
100%.
Because otherwise, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also now that you're with Ron del Barrilito, and I guess your mom is very proud of you.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. So every time she goes visits me and she sees me doing like, presentations and Excel sheets and all of this, she is proud of me. So it came full circle. It took a minute, but again, I'm really happy in the space that we're in right now, where this can be considered like a career. Mm-hmm. That this is not something that you do as you try to, or be a writer or an actor or whatever your career path is. Like, if you really love this and you put in the effort, you can make something out of it.
Yeah.
So,
you just, the other day, I think it's just also being happy with what you're doing, right? Because
Yeah.
if you're uncomfortable on something that you are doing to make the money, eventually you're gonna move on. But if you like what you do and you generally represent it, people see that also.
That's how I feel.
Like people see it,
That's
people
how,
feel it.
That's how I feel. Sometimes I think back, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome sometimes because at heart, en mi corazón, yo soy un barback todavía. Como que in my heart, like whenever I go to like a bar to visit, like I see like a spill, I still have the automatic reaction of like seeing if I have my rag on me. Mind you,
And
I don't
think-
carry my rag 24/7.
But I think it's good that you have that because I was thinking when you said, I was thinking about serving. Because when you serve, like, you know, the table is already set up and everything, but when you're like when you start as a buzzer and you know that you have to get ready for the next table, set up the table, and you know where the things are. And sometimes when you became a server, you start like, you know, focusing and you know, treat the guests and selling food and everything. But when you have that experience, it's like, oh, I think this table needs to be.
You
this
see it.
area. Exactly.
You're able to see it, but
That's experience.
yeah,
though.
that's experience.
I'm
but
walking around with a tray. And
walking around with a tray. But yeah, it's at heart I consider myself a barback still. So sometimes I think back like, wow, like I really do this for a living. Like I got to first of all go out to bars, talk about this, you know, delicious rum and showcase it to the world, and I get paid to do it, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's so
That's
happy.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, just to tell the audience and whoever is not in New York, do you have like a favorite spot? I mean, let's not say favorite, but like you have a.
Oh, you guys are gonna get me in trouble. You guys are gonna get me in trouble because I can name 20 places right now that I can go to, but not in order of like favoritism.
Yeah.
You know, because I love all these spots equally, but definitely I have a good time over at Perla Negra.
Okay.
One of the places
Perla Negra. Shout out to Felix and the team.
Francis, the team, Sebastian, Perla Negra, enjoy it. Always have a good time over at Aftermath
Yeah.
as well. One of my favorite bars
Afterbar is located in Ridgewood and Perla Negra is
Ridgewood.
located in
Harlem.
in Harlem.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see, man. It's hard. What other one? It's a good bar I like to visit. Katana Kitten is a good one
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, Katana is delicious.
Katana Kitten is.
Shout out to the guys at Katana too.
Shout out to the guys at Katana.
Armando, ¿qué lo que?
What's up? And I love tiki. I love tiki. So Paradise Lost is also
I was gonna say, you know,
one of those that I love.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kitty. She's
Yeah,
amazing.
Katie. Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure's on
Thank you
mine.
so much for coming, for sharing your experience. It was awesome. So fun
Yeah.
talking to you.
Had a good time.
No, thank
knowing
you.
more about
I-
you and
I forgot the cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
So you guys did an amazing job at making me feel comfortable.
and
Thank you so much,
for
Nuri.
bringing this.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Appreciate you.
Before we go, would you like to send a shout out to anybody and share your social media? Yes, if they want to reach out to you, if they want to try
Yeah.
at the bar, or you know, somebody perhaps runs into you and say, "Hey, I saw you at the podcast." So if you'd like to share your handles.
Man, yeah, I am Don Barrilito at Instagram. And again, shout out to all the people we mentioned in this podcast. Shout out to Kiwi, the boys up there in Perla Negra, Rudy in Aftermath,
Rudy.
my mentor, Roberto. Shout out to all you guys. Anita, love you. But yeah, Don Barrilito on Instagram. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
And happy to be here.
Well,
Thank you so
folks.
much.
Thank you for another week. Nuri, Felix, thank you for coming. If you guys want to watch more episodes like this, go to our website,
Bar Talking Bar
NYC.com.
And
Thank you.
please don't forget to tip your bartenders. And actually, don't forget to tip. Please, if you have the chance, look at our bio in Instagram. We have a link that you can make donations. Tip Edgar or me to keep doing this beautiful podcast that we do it for you guys, and share your support with us.
Thank you. Thank you all. See you next week.
See you
with
next
another
week.
episode of Bar Talking.
I want to learn how to
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Bar Talking, Talking Bar.